Okay, today our focus is actually on forming absolute construction or paired constructions in terms of compo. We will come to that later and explain what is it. Okay. Generally, it's more about forming sentences with absolute and paired constructions, right? Okay. So when we talk about absolute construction, when we're constructing like a phrase or a sentence, it usually begins with a noun or a noun phrase and it has a participle. Okay. So it has like ed or ing. Actually, ed is past tense, simple past or past participle. ing can be continuous tense. Okay, and then sometimes they also have no participle at all. Okay, later on we'll give some examples. Yeah, it elaborates on a sentence by describing or providing some additional details. Okay, I think this one works very well for your descriptive writing or your narrative writing because you just want to give extra details just to interest your readers a little bit. Okay, so for example, yeah, okay. The noun phrase is underlined. Okay, if you're not clear, maybe I'll just use the highlighter. Okay, so a lot of times when we are constructing sentences, it's a direct sentence. Sometimes you can have an indirect sentence. Okay, it's about active and passive voice also. So in this case, her arms is actually a noun phrase, her glass, the task, and hands. Hands is actually a noun. It's not a noun phrase. Okay, but all these three are actually what we know of as noun phrases. Noun phrases usually comprises of either a pronoun or an article. The is an article. Okay, so these are noun phrases, and then you might also want to construct using, like they said, ing, ed, or past participle, having been completed. Okay, so this is actually a participle, right? So her arms flailing in, oh, Zhou Jun is here. Hold on. Let me admit him first. Okay, right. Okay. Yeah, so we were just talking about constructing absolute and constructions, yeah? So the second example, her glass raised to her lips. She eyed the crowd warily. I think we're missing a full stop here. Okay, the task. So we're making the task the subject having been completed. They sat and rested. So the object is at the back. The subject here, in this case, the sentence is the task. Okay, the task having been completed. So it's basically also, why do we need to construct such sentences? It's basically to also improve on the variety of sentences that you're writing in your compo. Because if everything is simple sentences, it can be quite boring. Okay, so next one, hands on her hips. She gave the child a talking to. Okay, so the noun, the subject is hands on her hips. Okay, so sentences with absolute constructions, this is what we call absolute constructions, can add a stylish lit to your writing. Can be a bit more stylish. Like I said, it's really to vary the different sentence structures. Okay, so how do we change it? If it's an ordinary sentence like the one on the left, his heart was thumping when he woke up with an unexplained dread. Okay, so you can actually rephrase it to he woke up with with an unexplained dread, his heart thumping. Okay, then the next example, after his illness was cured, he quit his job, packed his bags, and traveled around the world. So we actually put the subject as his illness cured, right? He quit his job, packed his bags, and traveled around the world. Yeah. The next one, the exams were over. They celebrated over a meal. So the exams over, they celebrated over a meal. Yeah. Then the next one, the dog's teeth flashed as it pounced on the intruder. Its teeth flashing, the dog pounds on the intruder. Okay. So that's basically absolute construction. Later on, I think I'll give you some examples to do. Now, how do we vary the placement? When we talk about placement, we're talking about beginning, middle, and end of a sentence. So we can actually put absolute construction either the beginning, middle, or end. So these are the examples here. The absolute construction is in bold, right? Remember, absolute construction always starts with a noun phrase or a noun. Then it has your either ing, ed, or participle at the back. Okay, so you can actually, it's basically an absolute construction phrase or clause. It's actually it's a dependent clause because it needs to depend on information in a sentence to become a complete sentence. So generally, absolute constructions are not complete sentences. Okay, they are just clauses or phrases. Okay, so the first example, his eyes smarting from the smoke. She stumbled out of the burning room. Okay. Or if you want to put it in the middle, you can introduce the character first. She, his eyes smarting from the smoke, stumbled out of the burning room. Right? Or you can put it at the back of a sentence. She stumbled out of the burning room, his eyes smarting from the smoke. Okay, so those in bold are actually your absolute construction phrases or clauses. Yeah. Okay, next one as well. It can be at the start of the sentence. His body writhing in pain. G sank to the ground. Okay, I think they're missing a full stop here. Or you can introduce the character again. G, his body writhing in pain, sank to the ground. Okay. Or you can also put it at the back. G sank to the ground, his body writhing in pain. Okay, so smarting, okay, someone asked Kiet-Ming asked what is the meaning of smarting? Basically, the smarting doesn't mean you're smart, like adjective smart, right? When you're clever. Smarting basically means it's a sensation of sharp stinging pain. Okay, usually if you were to inhale smoke or if you were to, expose your eyes to smoke, sometimes you might feel a sharp stinging pain. Okay, so his eyes smarting from the smoke. Right? That answers your question, right, Kiet-Ming? Okay, so yeah, basically commas are used to set off absolute constructions. Basically, what do we mean by set off is basically to segment the absolute constructions. Okay, his body writhing in pain. I think some of you might be wondering what's the meaning of writhing. Writhing is basically like, you have like squirmish, you have like squirmish movements because of pain. Okay, sometimes you will like, you act like a worm, squirmish movement. Maybe you are crouching a little bit and there's like a bit of twisting and contortion. Okay, squirmish movement, twisting of the body due to pain. So that's squirmish. Okay, right. So how to form absolute constructions, you must be wondering. So the base sentence is, for example, the hikers continued up the mountain. Okay, so let's just look at this very simple sentence here. Okay, and then how can we expand on it to make your sentences in your writing more interesting, yeah? So the hikers continued up the mountain. You might want to decide where you want to modify or how you want to modify. So How did they continue up the mountain? Their hunger was satisfied. That's why they continue up the mountain. Or maybe you want to give like a manner when they continue up the mountain, their foreheads were glistening with perspiration. So that's giving information. Okay. So there are many ways you can expand on it and elaborate on it. You can give the reason why they continued. You can also give information about the hikers as they continued. You can also give information about the journey up the mountain as well. Okay. So given that we know once you generate ideas on how to expand, oh, why is Larissa coming in again? I think she got locked out, is it? Yeah, I think I got Larissa in, huh? Okay, so once you've generated some ideas, you then will think about how to construct it into absolute constructions, right? So remember, there's always a noun phrase at the beginning. So their hunger, there is a pronoun, hunger is a noun. So this is the noun phrase. Okay, maybe I'll use another color. This is the noun phrase. And then it comes with a verb, right? So the verb is satisfied. Yeah. This one also, foreheads. Foreheads is the noun. The long and arduous climb. Okay, so this is what we call a noun phrase. A noun phrase can comprise of an article. The is an article. Long and arduous is actually an adjective. Okay. And then, of course, climb is a noun. So altogether, it actually makes up a noun phrase. Okay. This is actually a noun. Their hunger, there is a pronoun. Hunger is a noun. So altogether, they are actually also your noun phrase. Yeah? Okay, so then it comes with your verb. Your verb would be in this first example, satisfied. Okay, with an ed. So their hunger satisfied. So this is your absolute construction. And then you can decide whether you want to put it at the front, at the middle, or at the end of a sentence. Okay, so like I said, the reason why we're doing this is because we just want to make sure that you can vary in terms of your sentence structure. And one of the components that you'll be marked on for language is actually variety of sentence. So this is quite important. Okay, now next one, foreheads glistening. So this one is continuous tense, glistening with perspiration. Next one is beckoning them. So it's also continuous tense, yeah? So the hunger satisfied, the hikers continue up the mountain. Or foreheads glistening with perspiration, the hikers continue up the mountain. The long and arduous climb beckoning them, the hikers continue up the mountain. So either one is fine. Okay, so that means from a simple sentence. This is a simple sentence. We are now able to translate or transform it to actually all these are considered compound sentences. So there is a variety in the sentence. Okay. All right, so now we will have to try to construct an absolute construction on our own and put it at the beginning. So that's the criteria, yeah, at the beginning of the sentence. Okay, so the original sentence would be sentences would be, his eyes were on his feet, he was too afraid to speak. Okay, so his eyes on his feet, his eyes. Okay, noun phrase. On his feet, sometimes it can also do without participle as well. So this one is basically, actually on is a preposition.